Hello, welcome to Tip Drops with Karina. Today's video will be a special one because I received a great question from one of the tip droppers. Hi Sophie. The question was how to stay zen in the midst of a performance. And this one really made me think because performances for me don't come naturally or easy. I'm quite introverted and I can overthink things, and in performances there's a million things that can happen and that can go differently than expected. So I have had to consciously look for ways to prepare myself as best I could on one side, and during performances, no matter what had happened before, how to remain calm and stay centered and stay in the moment. So I will try to share tips for plan A, the preparation, and plan B, the actual performance, in hopes that some of these might be useful for you too. So first of all, I try to prepare myself as best I can because it feels more fair to me on stage if younger me, the one that is preparing, does all she can to give performing me the best possible chances of success. So if I know that I could have done more, or that I pushed away thinking of the performance or left out some preparation steps that I could have done and wanted to do, then on stage I might worry about those. So if I didn't fit my costume right, or sometimes these practical little things you wish you had done, they can get to you while you're on stage, and that's a bit of a shame. So my first piece of advice will be is to be diligent with yourself and make a list of all you can do that will make it easier for yourself, for your later self, once she is on stage. And it's a type of self-care actually. Be kind to your future self and give her all she needs, or he needs. Be kind to your future self and do all you can, so you know you will feel better and more at ease and thankful to your younger self for these pieces of preparation. And this can be anything. And I take this preparation part very seriously. I make it part of my life and integrate it because it is very broad. It's about energy management. I try to get enough rest. I plan to get enough rest. I try to eat healthily, what I feel my body needs, and I hydrate, drink enough water. I manage my environment, who I spend time with, because it can influence me and motivate or demotivate me. And I try to start early enough with preparations. So starting with the music, making sure that I try my costume on beforehand and that I make any adjustments, not backstage, because I might want to center there. I need all the steps because I don't want to be stressed. I try to do as much as I can beforehand, and that's my personal preference. Some people like to go with the flow, but if you are like me and you tend to worry too much on stage, do what you can, do what is in your control. Take care of that. You will feel professional and you will feel like even if disaster strikes while you are on stage, you have done all you could. And that gives you a type of confidence that comes from deep within, and it will help you. It will help you feel stronger, and it is a good habit to get into. So that's my first piece of advice. Also, something that will help you if you are doing a set choreography that you want to look a certain way is to give yourself also long enough time to practice. You don't need 3 months. That's actually too much, because then the energy will disperse too much. But 3 weeks is a good time. The first week will be to explore, to create. The second week will be to refine. And the third week will be to repeat, deepen, and to take things away. If I start making choreography and I am at the phase where I can leave things out, that's when I know it's becoming really ready to perform. When I am still adding, that's an early phase, and that's when things still are not really polished. So if sometimes I like to keep parts of a choreography open and just go with the flow, especially if it's very lyrical music. But then I know this beforehand. I know the music by heart, so I will listen and visualize instead. So still 3 weeks, I will be visualizing deeper and trying it out, even if I improvise to it completely. Also, I practice in my costume because the weight of the fabric or the way it sits on my body might make me move differently, and it may also inspire me. And if I do this only on the day before the performance, I might have so many ideas that they get in my way and I'm halfway between decisions. So I give myself 3 days before the performance to try on at least my costume and move with it once, and then I can sleep on it, and I still have one day that is not the actual pre-performance day to work on details or ideas and inspirations. And this will give me also peace that I was able to do something new and fresh, even though I've worked long on a dance. So do this. Practice in your costume, whatever it may be, whatever style you do, 3 days or around that time before your performance, and integrate whatever comes up so you feel fresh when you're on stage. Second part, okay, so I'll go for 3. Preparation, that's 1. Second part is on the day, but before you go on stage or before you go into the performance area. There I want to explore. If I can, I ask to be on the stage, and even if there's no time for me to dance, I want to walk on it with bare feet or with whatever I will have on my feet to perform. Usually it's bare feet, so I can feel the floor, if it's slippery, if it's blunt, and I try out any traveling steps and turns just to adapt my feet and my timing a little bit. This will help me enormously, because if I get on stage and it's a lot more slippery than I expect, I might give too much energy to my movements. This happened to me once while I was doing Zills. Every turn I made, I ended in a different direction, and it totally threw me off and made me disoriented. So you want to at least feel the floor and see what it does for you. Also, it will ground you, because your feet and your head are so far away from each other. Walking around barefoot on your performance space will help you connect to it, and that will make it less new once you get on stage to perform. And this little tiny bit might be just the thing that will help you feel more at ease. You want to remove any excess input that is new, or you want to make as much as possible familiar to you before you go on stage. Also, what I try to do, if I get to go on the place I want to be, I find the center of the stage and I look what I can see there, because the lights in the room may be off and you will only have spotlights, which can be blinding. But if there's an exit sign, for instance, and I know where it is, I can orient myself to that. Or if there's rows of chairs and I can see them, I try to figure out which ones are the center ones and where I need to look to be able to connect with the full audience. And this outside connection, not only the feet inside, but also visual connection, will help me to connect with the audience and not connect only to my brain. And that will help me to really perform what I have practiced. If I'm not connecting to the audience, there's too much space for my brain, for my monkey mind to do its own thing. I want to be in the moment, connecting my feet to the floor and connecting my senses to the audience. My body will be dancing because I've practiced. So that's how all the 3 come together. Also, right before going on stage, make sure you have hydrated backstage. Make sure you have taken some time away from others, if this helps you, and mentally go through your performance. This will also help you to know if there's any gaps, anything you want to practice right before you go on. And if it's not your turn yet, but right before it's your turn, warm up your body, breathe, move, do pliés, warm up your feet and legs, and shake out your hands. So your hands will be loose and active and your feet will be warm, so you have better balance. If you have better balance, also you will be more zen. So there's a lot going on. For me, it's not like I wake up and go on stage and it's easy. It does become easier with practice. The more often you perform, the better. So I also recommend performing for small audiences, performing for your camera, performing for stuffed animals, performing for your fellow students or your students if you are a teacher, or your friends, and then give yourself performance experience without having to wait until you get to go on stage. Even for me, I don't perform on stage very often in a year, and this year only once or twice. And it might be a year before I get to go on stage again, so I will have to use all of these tips. So thank you, Sophie. These are great reminders for myself as well. If I don't do this, I get on stage and it might go well, but I also might be frazzled, and that's a shame, because who knows when the next opportunity will come. Okay, on to the third part. When you are on stage, be sure to breathe. That's my biggest advice. If you can breathe with the movements, your body will respond better. Your brain will have more oxygen, and you will feel more calm, and this will express outward. Also, you can imagine if you have an audience that makes you nervous, a little mind trick that I have learned is to imagine your younger self, 3-year-old Khalida, 4-year-old, little still, and loves dancing, is in the audience somewhere up center and is watching the performances and is excited to see you perform. What will she see, or he? And putting myself in the viewpoint of the audience, but as something that I can identify with myself, but young and excited about the performances and friendly, will give me a kind of connection with the audience and with the moment that goes a bit deeper. It is as if I am dancing for them, but I also know what they will see. And this kind of double connection will ensure that I stay in performance mode and not just retreat into myself. I can dance internally, but I will still be aware of where I am on the background. So it's a kind of double consciousness. So try this out. If you get nervous and you get to judging yourself while you are dancing, take part of you, younger you, put her in the audience, let her be excited about what she'll see, and try to imagine what she will see when you come on and the excitement that she will feel. And you might be more buoyant and more giving in your performance, and if you give more, more will come back. If you give more, nothing comes back, at least you will have given everything. And that's my final piece of advice. The audience is not the most important thing. I know it feels odd to say this, but even if no one's in the room, or even if there's only one person in there and he or she is there for something else, give it all that you've got, because life is short. Performance opportunities are rare, and you don't want to hold yourself back until you are better, because I think that's maybe the secret thing that's holding you back from giving your all. It doesn't matter if you're perfect. Give everything of what you've got right now and work with what you've got. You might be able to express something that is different when someone else would be doing the same movements, and your interpretation of your piece of music that you chose is always unique. The way your body moves, it's not comparable to anyone else. The way you look in your costume with your makeup is not comparable to anyone else. It's different, it's unique, it's you, and it's valuable. Not more or less than anything else. Imagine a forest with trees. You're not going to say to one tree or the other that it should be different or more like the others. You want this variety to be there, and that's the beauty of this art form. It can be personal and it can be beautiful in many different ways. Yes, so ditch the perfectionism, but do your best anyway. Do the best of what you have now and work with that. You can always practice later. You practice before, you perform, and later you re-evaluate and you practice further. But during the performance, it's the performance that matters. It's only 2-3 minutes, maybe 4-5, maybe 10 if you have a really long performance, but it's not that big a block of time. And I tell myself the same when I perform a form for Taekwondo. I may be super nervous before, and I might even make mistakes, but I go with the intention to give it my all, to do my best, to be badass and present and work with what I've got, bluff over everything that I don't have perfect yet. And then afterwards, I can panic and be judgmental about myself and, and wave my arms. But during, I give my all, and that's it. Next time I will do different. So, okay. Very intense, but that's my advice. If you want to look zen while you're performing, intend to do that. And give yourself all the preparations you need, or more. You can never do too much preparation. Let go while you are performing, and promise yourself that you'll evaluate later so it doesn't creep in while you perform. All right, a slightly longer one this time. I hope this is of value, of use to you. Next week we will go on with body tip drops. Unless you have specific questions, if you have a question like Sophie had, send it to me. You can send it in the Facebook group for tip drops, or apply to the email where this tip drop is part of, or email me at info@khalidadance.com, and I will do my best to make a tip drop for you. Next to that, it's Friday today, so tomorrow on Saturday I will be teaching a workshop, Veil Technique in Combinations. We'll do 4 different combinations. If you want to sign up for it, At the moment now, it's Wednesday when I record this, there are 10 spots left. So if there are spots left, grab them and I will be able maybe to see you on Saturday, 11 to 1. We'll have a Zoom session and you'll get recordings if you sign up, even if you cannot make it live. So if you want to veil with me this Saturday, sign up for Veil Combos and Technique. I will add the link and then I'll see you. Otherwise, I'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.